think it's that time. Give me some of that time music so we can go ahead and break it up, man. First of all, everybody make some noise for the art of hip hop for letting us be here today for this momentous occasion. Definitely, man. It's definitely great, man. Shout out to Boo Boo Films. Mike Check Winwood Season 3. Go to Mike Check Winwood right now. We got a trailer. We got a trailer for the documentary that's coming out for the man that named hip hop. It's right here on the screen. See it? It's right there. Make sure everybody get a picture. Make sure everybody go to the website, MikeCheckWinwood.com. We got Mike Check Winwood Season 3 coming up, so make sure y'all looking for that. But right now, can I get a little environment, young boys, so I can bring on the man of the hour? Boy, he's getting it together. He's thinking. He's like, oh damn, should I go 90s? Should I go 80s? Or was it born in the 70s? I don't know. No. Where my 70s people at? Where my 70s people at? Make some noise, you in the 70s. Where my 80s crew at? Where my 80s crew at? How many people in here really love hip hop? If you really love hip hop, make some noise! We got a brother in the building, man, that has never been able to tell his story, but because of my brother, Boo Boo Films, he's here today at the Art of Hip Hop to give you guys this story. This is a hip hop untold story. The people that are here today, you guys are privileged to get to hear this story for the first time. I need everybody to make some noise for the original G-Man!
So Master G, y'all. Sugar Hill Gang, on the mic, and Diggity and Mel Hip Hop.
Live in the building, everybody, the original G-Man. What's up, brother?
Hey, I'm blessed. I'm just glad to be here, man. Glad to be here.
Oh, man, we glad that you're here. If y'all glad G-Man said, make some noise! Definitely, man, it's a good crowd out here. It's a momentous occasion because this is something that's never been done before, you know what I'm saying? You have a story that has to be told, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna do that right now. So go ahead and just give us a brief, like, you know, what's your name, where you from, and let's get into the story. What makes sense and what you want the people to know.
First of all, Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for giving us another day on this earth.
Yes,
we want to thank you for keeping us in your mercy and your grace. If it wasn't for you, it would be no us. We always have to give props to you because you are the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, and the end. And everybody in the house say, Amen. Yes, that's first and foremost. You know, I'm just thankful to have an opportunity to be a vessel that God made. Sometimes when we appreciate things too much, people take advantage of us. And I know through y'all walk in life, y'all have had that many times, that when you seem to be very gracious, humble, meek, and appreciative, people take advantage of you because they want to paint the narrative that you're subservient to their mindset. And I never did that, and I never sold out, and I never wanted to step on any of my brothers and sisters' toes, even though they was getting all the acknowledgement and all the fame. And just because people are more popular than others, it doesn't mean that they was first. You know what I mean? So I kept that story hid inside for 40 years, and I screamed at the rooftop for the last 20 years that I'm the guy that actually named it. I was in another group called Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock too, so we had hit songs like It Takes Two, Joy and Pain, all those. And I would have sounded like a half of an idiot telling the man with the #1 song in the country, let alone him and Bobby Brown and all the other people that I was around, my prerogative and all that stuff, and tell them I'm the man that named hip hop. They wouldn't have believed me. Who would have believed that? You know what I mean? I was a child when this happened. So you said get right into it?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, that's what I wanted you to really get into, the fact that you was a kid. Tell us how old you were.
I was 10 and a half years old when I was approached on Broadway Avenue in Eldon in Brooklyn, New York by Sylvia Robinson.
And what year was this?
This was in 1975.
All right, so give the people the story of who Sylvia Robinson was. Where did she come from?
I actually was doing hip hop before it was named a culture, anything in 1973. I named it in '75 after being approached by Sylvia. Sylvia Robinson, they call her the godmother of hip hop because she owns Sugar Hill Records. You know, when she approached me, she pulled up in a limousine, Rolls Royce that is, and I didn't know what a Rolls Royce was. I was a 10.5-year-old kid helping my mother who had like 13 kids, cousins, and all that, running around the house and all that as a single parent. So I was being taught to be a gentleman. In other words, do what I have to do so I could do what I want to do. That means I was learning to be a young 5%er, which means I wanted to learn knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is the main 3 principles of hip hop. So I wanted to help my mother in any way I could. So I started working at a grocery fruit stand and scaling fish and stocking fruits and vegetables. And one day I was outside stocking oranges and apples. I'll never forget that day. And I seen this car pull up, beautiful car. And the door opened up, and a Caucasian gentleman came out, a white guy came out, opened the door, and a black lady stepped out. I ain't never seen that before. That was a culture shock to me. She got out of the car, she looked very beautiful. And she walked up to the fruit stand and started looking at the fruits, but I was rhyming. I was just saying nursery rhymes. You know what I mean? And she asked me, "What is that you doing?" I said, "I'm rhyming." She said, "Can you do that again?" Right there, I had to put a pause on because I had a West Indian mother who was born in the Virgin Islands, and that means when you don't engage with adults like that. You back up and be respectful. So and she's a stranger. So she said, right at that moment, I became the first sellout in history for hip hop. Because she said, "I'll give you $20. I was like, hip hop. That was the most money I've ever made in my life. It was the first time I ever had a $20 bill. You know what I mean? And now I know I can go get a couple of bags of chicken to help moms at the house. That's all my focus was really on.
So I want to ask you, you said you was doing hip hop, you want the name of hip hop. Give the people the description of the things that you were doing that was considered to be hip hop before hip hop.
It was we had a little homeboys, all our little homeboys, you know what I mean? And New York is a melting pot, so it was all nationalities. It was Latinos, or we would call Puerto Ricans. It was whites, it was blacks, it was foreigners. It was just a whole lot, and everybody had their own set of skills. The black guys, for some reason, had this way of doing the worm, the tick. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And the aspects of the culture was breakdancing, pop locking, rapping, rhyming, writing graffiti, doing a slide, which we now call the moonwalk since Michael Jackson did it. You know what I mean?
Everybody been doing the moonwalk before Michael
We've been
Jackson.
doing it before, Mike. You know, he was the most popular
I
entertainer.
did it the other day.
Did you wear the socks?
Of course.
But in that aspect, those was the aspects of the culture, and which is all but been forgotten. The only thing they think when you say hip hop, first thing they think about is the rapping.
Right.
Rap is a small aspect of the entire culture, very small. Poquito. A little Spanish there.
Hey.
But hindsight is, when Sylvia Robinson asked me to do it again, and she gave me the $20, she influenced me and actually manipulated me somehow, because she said, "I need you to come up to the studio so I can have other people listen to this." So she wanted me to bring my birth certificate, my social security card, all this stuff that I snuck in my mom's drawer to get. I knew I was gonna take her hands, but I knew it was coming. I knew because I'm being disobedient. So I cut school, went up there, and to make a long story short, I was in the recording studio, and they knew what that was. Actually, I didn't know what the mixing board was. I didn't know what the 8 tracks was. The 16-inch reel to reel. Y'all don't know that.
So hold up. So let's come back, because you saying you didn't know what these things were. Give us the climate of where the music was coming from. What songs were you guys maybe breakdancing and dancing to? How was the music being produced?
We didn't have music. We created our own rhythms by beating on empty buckets, garbage cans, the tops for the garbage cans, the windows, the gates, you know what I mean? Stomping, hitting our knees, hitting spoons together. We created our own rhythms. So we didn't have, and the technology wasn't there for the music, like to use it the way it is being used.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted you to explain, because all you all remember being in school and beating on the tables and cafeteria. You know what I mean? These are the things that were hip hop. You know, these are the cultures of hip hop. You know what I mean? So I'm just giving everybody the environment of what's going on. This guy was 11 years old, a part of this culture, and being able to give it to other adults that were instilling it. You know what I'm saying? This is what he's saying. You know what I mean? And this is important because there's a lot of stories that are told, but it's always, you know, it comes back to the kids and different people being taken advantage of for bigger, you know, sums of money. You know what I mean? So now, after you've done this, what elements came into the point where 1975, when you named hip hop, where did this happen and what was going on? Like where was all this artists at?
You got to remember back in 73, 74, 75, they was in the disco era. That's what was being played. If you remember Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta and all that, that was the kind of music, the Bee Gees and all that type of stuff, Gloria Gaynor, and those was the type of music that was being played. In 1975, let's keep it 100, there was no such thing as a hip hop DJ. Turntables didn't even spin back. The technology wasn't even created for turntables to make noise or music if you played it backwards. So it didn't make no sound. If you turn that backwards, you break the red and black wire or the black and white wire, and no sound will come out. Absolutely no sound will come out. So when I hear a lot of people get up here and they say, yo, I've been doing this since, and they try to change the algorithm to match 73 to 2023, which is 50 years, and you know that it couldn't have been a DJ, a hip-hop DJ that did that, because there's no such thing as a hip-hop DJ. Matter of fact, the terminology hip-hop wasn't even in effect. So let's get the real story out here now. Let's let it make sense.
Does that make sense to everybody? 1972,
Yes, it does.
Kool Herc did a party, and they said this is the beginning of 1972, but there was no elements of hip hop to say that this is what created hip hop. Can everybody think to agree with that? Can everybody see that? You know, because it was kind of surprising to me. I've always heard that Kool Herc did the party. You know what I'm saying? And Kool Herc was based off, he was a breakbeat DJ, so it was kind of like the elements of him saying, "See me here, the party, and the place to be." Everybody say like I was just doing. These are the elements that he was doing, him seeing with the breakbeats, because they would pick the beats with no instrumental, with the instrumental part on, to be able to do these different parts and segue into the next record. So it was the culture of it, you know, and then you got Grand Wizard Theodore, who put the scratching back into it, you know what I'm saying? So everything that you see going on with hip hop is based off of this person doing this person doing that, this person did. It's like taking pieces of bits, like Rakim say, taking pieces of bits to go to hip hop is, you know what I mean? And so this is how it was created. So you got this guy who's 11 years old, he's dropping rhymes. He's in here at the time, 70, 75, 76, Sugar Hill hadn't even came out with a record.
Now, Sugar Hill, that song that was put out wasn't put out till 1979. Can I just take 1 second and say something? Behind every woman, every man, there's always a woman in the back. And the strength behind that, I want to introduce y'all to my wife. Is that okay?
Yeah. Sure.
Miss Price.
Miss Price,
Front and center.
Miss Price, everybody make some noise for Miss Price! How long y'all been together?
11 years.
Woo! Okay.
Beautiful.
That's good.
11 years. 11 years. Whew. Married 10, but you gotta think about it. It's a lot of work that goes into it. It must be something playing good over there, but looking over there. Should we start ducking? Is something going on over there? We all right? Oh, okay. You scared me. You make me think I have to go back to my bodyguard days. You know what? Hey, they don't know about that.
Man, we get to it. We get to that.
So back in like
75, 76. Let's creep up.
Okay, so in 1975, it's in Brooklyn, there was a park called Prospect Park. It was on Parkside Avenue and Ocean Avenue, right across from the oldest McDonald's in New York. If you remember, it by the train station. We was having a jam out there. And we called jam. It was sort of like we had graduated from the block parties, and the basement parties, and you know what I mean, all the old school parties, and the house parties. We took it to the park now because there's attributes that people want to showcase their skills and talents, which is the aspects I was explaining previously. we got out there one day and they was getting to have the sessions go on where guy get on the little makeshift stage that they had out there in the parks. It was no more than maybe 3 feet high or whatever. So they was gonna put their cardboards down and from the old pamper boxes and they spin around on their backs and their necks and do all the techniques, the pop locking and taking away and all that. And one guy got up and said something like, what do we name this stuff that we doing? And old smart guy look, the young Master G, that stood for the Master God. It didn't stand for my name. So, I don't want to misconstrue anybody's, like Guy O'Brien, who is from Ohio, that uses the name Master G. You know what I mean? And that stands for him, for Guy. And I respect that because everybody has the right to their truth. This is just mine. You know what I mean? So, long story short, I said, hey, let's just name it hip hop. And people looking at me and I started explaining what I meant by that. Everywhere we went, doing all the aspects, pop, locking, breakdancing, rapping, rhyming, doing the tick, writing graffiti, we was popular everywhere we went. So the older heads, older guys, that is, the older people used to say, you young brothers is hip, and throw that black fist up in the air and say, you young brothers is hip. So I took that, I said, that's hip. And then I wanted to be that young 5%er to learn from them guys that was doing cool stuff like taking out the trash without your mother asking you to do it, cleaning up the house without her asking me, so I could stay outside, and if I do what I have to, then I can do what I want to. You see what I'm saying? That mindset. So I needed to go from borough to borough to be a part of the cipher meetings. Ciphering is not passing the mic around. You don't get nothing out of passing the mic around. If you think about the concept behind cipher, that means like if you put a hose in a gas tank and you suck the air out and then the fluid come out, that's getting something out, that's ciphering, right? So we wanted to build in a cipher, so the metaphor behind that was in our mind, we wanted to build our minds to be better young men in our house and our community without getting offended. Like these young guys, you tell them pull their pants up and they get offended, want to cuss you out, that type of stuff. So in order to get to these cipher meetings, we didn't have what these to-do little kids got today, the Segways, the Trice, all them little cute bikes and all that. We didn't have that. We barely had skateboards. So I came up with this mindset of when the police wasn't looking, we'd run, and when the train door opened up, we'd hop over the turnstile to sneak on the train to go from borough to borough. It's free. So that's where the term hip because we was popular and hop because we had to hop over the turnstile to go to the cipher meetings. That's as simple as it was. It's not rocket scientists. People want to influence your mind and make you think it was rocket science. Like it was science, a big thing, but it wasn't. It was just that simple. The simpler things are the ones that makes the most sense.
So now that you've got this element going and you're in Sugar Hill, you're setting up the records for Sugar Hill Records, 11 and 12 years old, give us the aspect of when you actually began putting out records and creating your environment as an artist.
The funny thing is, I never got credit for the stuff I put out or the stuff that was actually stolen from me because they'd hear me say some rhymes and you start hearing it everywhere. And then people that was older than us kids, was able to get in clubs and make it a business. So we was kids, all this rapping and rhyming. If you a grown man, which most of them guys was older than us, and they was able to get in clubs and make money, we couldn't do that because we was children. So it didn't, and when Sylvia and them realized that it was a business, that's when that started. You know what I mean? And the question you just asked, repeat that question so I can hit that right on the head. I'm gonna knock that one right.
You started making records.
The first record I ever did, it's some Latino people in here, so I want y'all to understand. The first record I ever did was with Tito Puentes Senior.
Wow.
And me and Tito Puentes Jr. is cool right now too, who's a Miami native, by the way. And the first song I ever put out was a song called Esa Oca, and the rhymes went something like this. This is a new style, and it's smooth, created by me. For you, a dose of house and lay back rap, a little merengue to keep it real fat. That was the first song I ever put out because Tito Puentes seen in me something special that he would sneak me into Latin Quarters. He would sneak me into Studio 54. He would sneak me into all mall, the big hangouts, and I'd come sneak in from the back door, make my little $50, and say them rhymes for him, and everybody go crazy while he's playing his percussions, and I sneak back out and go back home before mom even knew I snuck out the house. So that was the first. That actually started in like I want to say 75, 76, roughly like that.
So like as we climbing like so 78, you had Curtis Blow coming out with the
Yes.
his music, and then Rappers Delight came out in 79, and then 80. So what was going on with you as you're seeing these songs come out? And you're hearing some of the things that you're doing. What's going through your mind at this time?
I was baffled. You know, I didn't understand it, like how people would take stuff that I would say and stuff that I would think about, and then they gonna make a living on it, and didn't even like say thank you. You know what I mean? It was like it was no laws that protected me back then, you know what I mean? My intellectual property, no, it was no laws, absolutely. But these guys was taking stuff that I said, and I used to hear my rhymes, like, I know no grown man would be saying nursery rhymes. He would look like a little pedophile, wouldn't he? What grown man would be saying nursery rhymes? I just didn't get that. And if you listen to Rappers Delight, they didn't start rapping until they said macaroni soggy, peas or mush, and the chicken tastes like wood. Now, when Sylvia was recording me warming up, that day she had me, influenced me to come up there, she promised me $1,500. I was gonna take an ass whooping for that.
Yeah.
I would let them beat me down if I could help my mom. That's all I thought about, what she could do with that $1,500. I went to the studio, I started warming up. I asked her, can she turn the lights off because it was too bright, because I never seen a boom mic, and she literally dimmed the lights. For about 2 minutes, my little chubby self was turning the lights up and down. I never seen that before, so I'm being in a shock mindset.
Kid though, you're being a kid.
Yeah.
Like, right.
Man, you can imagine a mic came down from the ceiling. Could you imagine what that did to me? And I didn't know what a microphone was. We never used them. We was just screaming at the same thing. So long story short, I was warming up and she was recording me. I didn't know that. I had no idea she was recording me. I know I could see through a window and they could see me through a window. And I seen it was a tall man, which later on come out to be Mr. Joseph Robinson Sr., her husband, God bless him, he's passed on, and so is Miss Sylvia. So don't think I'm bashing. This is just my truth to the story. You know what I mean? I'm not, because without them, I wouldn't probably be who I am anyway. I always try to think of a way not to disrespect people, no matter what they do. That's forgiveness, because the forgiveness is for me. You know what I mean? And I had to learn that the hard way. So long story short, when they took the stuff from me and she told me, y'all can go ahead and leave now. I mean, told me I can go ahead and leave because we're not gonna do it no more, and I'm not gonna pay you what I said I was gonna pay you. So that's when the gentleman with the slick hair, white guy with the slick hair, I mean, he just had this oily, slick hair. Then I found out later it was probably a mob guy who helped put the money behind Sugar Hill Records. You know what I mean? Because that's who actually put all the money behind Sugar Hill Records. This is deep stuff we're talking about.
You can Google that. You can Google and say it'll show you that the Italian mafia was responsible for putting the money behind Sugar Hill Records.
You know, and I just happened to be there to see it because it came from me. So I seen what they did. So when she said she's not gonna pay me the money that she promised me, I was like, I knew this was bullshit, just how I felt. But I didn't say it because I was raised to respect adults and not to curse in front of them. At the end of the day, Mr. Dexter, you want me to send your mom a letter home? So long story short, what she did was say, I'm not gonna pay you money. I said I was gonna pay you, I'm gonna give you double the amount. $3,000 for a kid, and it's only 11 years old. Do you know what that's like today? That's a lot of money today. And I just knew that I was gonna get a butt whooping, but this was the best ass whooping I was gonna get. I was gonna enjoy this one. But every lash I got, I was gonna enjoy it. So long story short, she gave me my $3,000, she lifted that cloth up, and all them 5s and 10s and 20s, influence, you know, she was impressing me with all that, but all that was impressive. So back in the day, they had paper bags, not the cheap bags. They had the thick brown paper bag. You fold them down, and she stapled it 3 times, one on each end and in the middle, and told me don't open it till I got home. So I just want to go home and show my mother what I did. Because she used to always say, you're not gonna make no money about it with them rhymes. You're not gonna make no money. I got paid today. I was walking out the door, she called me back and said, now I need you to sign the receipt. So I come back in, and she said, press hard, because they had carbon copies back then. They didn't have what they got now. So with the carbon copies, I was writing my name, and everything she asked me to write, and as I wrote my name on it, it went through. I didn't know I was giving away my publishing. I didn't know I was giving away my name, the Little Master G. I didn't know that. And how did it pay off? One day, I'm doing interviews. I'm fast forwarding because I know you got a lot to get to, but I'm fast forwarding. One day I'm doing an interview and a phone call, the phone rings. You know, I just think it's a regular caller coming in that want to ask me questions. And the guy goes on and he said, hey, how you doing? My name is Mark McPhee. I don't know you, I don't know him. So the caller said, the interviewer said he may want to ask you a question. He said, no, I don't want to ask a question. I just want to clarify something. I was in the park today, Mr. George Price named hip hop. After all the fighting, all the arguing, all the trying to prove who I was, this man calls and says, I'm a hip hop historian. I've been following hip hop my entire life. My brother is this artist and that, and I did this, I accomplished that, all his accolades. He said, I was in the park in 1975, the day he named hip hop. Do you know what retribution is? Do you know what when God comes through and he gives you your back pay? I felt so relieved, and I actually choked up because somebody was there and could prove that I did what I did. And that's God, man. God did.
So did you feel vindicated at the time?
Man, I felt vindication. I was relieved. It's like, you ever been overly constipated?
Overly tight.
Overly, and then you go to the restroom and you relieve yourself. And once you relieve yourself, it's like you can go to sleep, you can jump, you want to run, you want to do everything. That's what I felt like, because it was a bunch of bullshit, excuse me, that was clogged up in me for so long that it was finally released. And you know what he did for me? He not only told me that, he sent to his lawyer's office an affidavit that was signed, notarized, and publicized and sent to me. And I was just so ecstatic. And then another guy contacted and did the same thing. His name is DJ Flash. He said he attributed his success to me because I gave him his first opportunity to perform live when my DJ didn't show up one time. So he's now in West Palm Beach, you know, a program director and a hot DJ out in West Palm. And he sent the affidavit to sign it. He said, I was in the park. My family used to come up from Cuba every summer. And on every Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, we wanted to go around the Prospect Park and see the young Master G around and do his thing. So I got another affidavit. And that proves not only was that I was using the term Master G before anybody, it proves that somebody else bear witness to me naming hip hop at that time.
I mean, you know, just to say that with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Remember Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. So when they got signed to Sugar Hill Records, they got signed as Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, and they took Grandmaster Flash's name. He couldn't use his name until 1984. He got his name back when he started doing Def Comedy. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that a lot of the artists went through back then because it was a business and they wasn't explaining what was going on. And he got work for hire. So the money that they gave him at that time, most of them artists back then got work for hire. They would only get their shows. You know what I'm saying? Because this is how the people were able to pay back the mob. This is because the mob helped fuel a lot of the hip hop back then. They tied him out because it was waiting the clubs. You know, the music, because they had to press up the records. Who seen Crush Crew? Anybody who seen Crush Crew?
Yeah,
so you remember Russell needed to press up the 12 inches, what did he go do? He went got money from him, you know what I'm saying? So these are the things this is really going on at this time. He's a kid, he's seeing these things, you know what I'm saying? And then it gets to the point. How old were you when you started with Rob Bass?
Oh man, I was with Rob Bass from 89 to 96. Oh man, from the beginning, from the actual beginning. You know what I mean? Only parts I wasn't really around for with him was the Mike and Dave days, you know, all that stuff, because at that time I had lost total focus on what was going on, because I didn't think nobody would ever believe. I stayed relevant because I was still talking to people about how to learn the industry for themselves and the business. And my mindset is two aspects of this entire program. It's called industry and business. See, the difference between the two, anybody know what that is? Industry gets you laid and business gets you paid. So now I'm on the paid and I develop artists so that they don't have to go through what I've been through.
That's all right.
Does anybody have any questions in the audience? Anybody have any questions?
So what happened to Sugar Hill Gang and all that right there?
Right now, they going around doing tours, and this is not to bash them, but just like when Motown, when a lot of people passed away in Motown or is no longer in Motown, they get people to come into the groups and act and perceive to be like them. So some groups are called the Motowners, which is friends of mine, good people. And now they got other people that are filling for the people that's no longer there, like Big Bang Hank Henry. He's passed on, God bless him, dead. You know what I mean? And for some time, Mr. O'Brien wouldn't be there.'s not there sometime. So they get other people to fill in and take their place and still call themselves the Sugar Hill Gang. But to me, in my mindset, if the original crew is not there, it's not the same. It's not the same to me, because I like the authenticity of the group itself. But if you have two members and then somebody else come in and fill in, I can see that. You know, you got to keep the money coming in, because that's the business. But in hindsight is, you can't get offended with me because I go and promote myself as, I don't use the Master G brand because they own the name. And people, they get fickle about things they own and they want to sue you for, infringement. You know, so I don't use Sugar Hill Gang. I don't use that term because they own it. I don't use anything that's attributed to them except for when I say, because I had conversations, me and Guy O'Brien, we had plenty of conversations. So, and the mindset is, what I use now is, I'm the original G-Man of hip hop, formerly of the Sugar Hill family. I was signed to Joey Robinson Jr. directly to Bona Me Records, which is under the umbrella of Sugar Hill Records. So therefore, if I say Sugar Hill family, I'm not lying. He's the son.
And are you still doing music now?
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. And I say also Sugar Hill family and Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. Since I was Rob Bass's bodyguard, his live-in chef, and well as his hype man from time to time. So it gives me the right to say these things. But I still do music. My label right now that I'm dealing with, the company, our company is like off the chain. As you see what I'm wearing, it says GXYZ.
It's all right.
It stands for God. XYZ stands for the end, so it's the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Omega. You know what it stands for? God. It says G-Man. The G stands for God. And the dash between the G and the M stands for the bridge between God and man. So it has to make sense.
It's all right.
So I want you to give the people an understanding of how important, what is 5% Nation, and how important it was to hip hop. And when you were saying as a kid that you was following that element, so I don't think a lot of people understand what 5% is. Kind of give them that information.
Let's put it like this. A lot of people don't want you to talk about God. If you have a conversation and you bring Jesus up, the conversation turns real quick. They don't want to talk about that. And I'm breaking it down in a scenario where if I sit there and I talk about my Glock, or I talk about how many women I sleep with, or I talk about how much drugs I'm selling, or if I talk about how many bodies I'm bagging, or if I talk about, all that negative stuff, they'll listen to me all day. They'll let you even play that music all day. They'll buy your music, sell your stuff. But if you sit there and you tell them about God, they don't want to hear you. They start blocking you out. They start tuning you out. They start disrespecting you even. So 5%, if the 5% Nation is based upon those main three principles I told you about: knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I'm gonna always be a God body. That means my body belongs to God. because I was made in his image. You know what I mean? And if I'm made in his image, that means that I have to think like he would think when he would think it, although I understand that I'm just a simple man. I'm a man first. I'm like Peter. I will cut your damn ear off and let God put it back. You see what I'm saying? I won't play with you. But it's questions. Let's get the questions.
Gina, do you feel like you're making a change in the industry?
Yes, when I develop an artist, when artists get to the end of the 90-day curriculum and they can go out there and they can create their own business and they can sit there and they can have conversations with executives and they don't just tune them out and say, send your representative anymore, or they understand what a publishing company is, or they sign the ASCAP or BMI and they know they're a legitimate artist. You know what I mean? When they start, because that's where I get it. So I'm making a difference. And then on top of teaching them the hip hop and hip hop culture and the business, I also teach them etiquette and self-development. Like sometimes I teach in schools, and when I teach in the school, I teach as grades 6 to 12. And I teach them their core classes along with etiquette, self-development, and hip hop. You see what I'm saying? Because hip hop is actually the #1 music that's being used in the entire globe. I've seen countries and watched footage of people in countries we didn't even know exist, and there's 244 of them in the world. And they're doing hip hop, but they don't even have clothes. But they know hip hop. So you tell me if God ain't in the mix of that. 5%ers believe in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You have to understand what today's science is. Every day you have to come up and you have to answer me and tell me what's today's science? What's today's mathematics? Everything in life is a mathematical equation. The strongest mathematical equation is 9 times anything equals 9. Y'all heard that in school, right? Like 1 times 9 equals what? 2 times 9 equal what? Huh? 2 times 9 equal what? 18. 1 and 8 is what? So 3 times 9 is what? So 2 plus 7 is what? You see where I'm going with it? Mathematics.
So the 0 to 9, there's no higher number than 9. It's like when you have a baby, it comes in 9 months. You know what I'm saying? So this is mathematics. So when you look at Busta Rhymes, Rakim, the Brand Nubians, a lot of the hip hop artists back in the days were 5%ers. You know, because like you said, it's what gave them their character. You know, it helped them be able to mold, to be able to, because you know, you got young ghetto kids, and we young in ghetto, we're gonna smoke weed, we're gonna do all the things. So the 5% kind of brought you a character to be more professional. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to explain to the people the difference between the hip hop culture as far as you being a kid and how it exemplified education, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and how it became what it is today with the money and the murder and what we was talking about the other day.
See, if you have a kid that goes into a class, first of all, education starts at home. Your first love, if you're a woman, is your dad. Your first love, if you're a man, is your mom. You see what I'm saying? Because they show you how they're supposed to show you how a woman or a man is supposed to be treated and how they are supposed to carry themselves. So that's a part of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. See, knowledge means you have to know something. You know what I mean? And if you don't know something, you don't know what you don't know till you find out you don't know it. You know what I mean? Wisdom takes time. That comes in time. Wisdom ain't something that somebody just automatically wakes up with. That comes in time through experiences, trials and tribulations. Understanding meaning knowing the difference between the other two and how to apply the other two to benefit you and everybody around you. You see what I'm saying? That's deep. See, I think on the other end of eternity because the devil don't exist out there.
So, what is the message that you want, and with the documentary, what are you hoping that you can capture with the people?
I want to get the truth about where and how hip hop started. You get all these names of these people. I don't really want to mention any names because I don't want to cause controversy. Like I said, everybody got the truth, the right to their own truth, and so do I. So I'm gonna tell my truth, and where it lays, it lays. Don't get mad at me because I'm telling you my story. Get mad at yourself because your story may not match up with the truth. You can say all you want to say about rapping, hip hop, and all that stuff, but if you wasn't born in 1973, you don't understand hip hop. And if you wasn't old enough to understand what was going on at the time, you definitely don't understand. You see what I'm saying? So I get a lot of people that come to me that's under 30, that's 30 years old, 20 years old, want to debate me about who they think did it, who created it. They mention names. Now let's go to Sugar Hill.
That's right.
One fact, it's a true fact. Big Bang Hank. He was gave a gift of a catalog of rhymes from somebody named Casanova Fly. Casanova Fly told him, yeah, you can use my rhymes, bro. Hey, it's gonna be something major one day. You know, I love y'all as a brother, what you doing. So go ahead and use some of the rhymes. Now, what Casanova Fly didn't do was tell him, well, don't use my name. Use your own name and just don't use none of my names. You can use some of the rhymes. But if you look at Big Bang Hank's part on Rappers Alike, when he comes in, after one of the mic says, and next on the mic is my man Hank. Come on, Hank, sing that song. Y'all remember that? And then he say, the first thing he say, not the B-I-G, the H-A-N, the K and all that. He didn't say that. He said, I'm the C-A-S-A, the O-V-A-N, the rest is F-L-Y. You just took somebody else's name and said, I'm that. That's controversial. You basically, you lied because you're not Casanova Fly and you shouldn't have used the man's name. But in hindsight, that just tells you that in entertainment, you're gonna get a bunch of facades and lies that seems like the truth because most people screaming at the top of the lungs and the top from the roofs. That doesn't mean that it's true. I don't care how many people may agree with it or disagree with it.
Do you agree with what he's saying? Because this thing is a lot of stories that you've heard hip hop, this person did this person did that. Here's somebody who's giving you a story, but he's not giving to you in a far-fetched situation. You know what I'm saying? What he's telling you makes sense. You know what I mean? You can look it up, you can see what he's saying, you know, at the time period. And that's why we're here giving him this opportunity to tell the story so people can hear this story. Because we already just said in the beginning, 72, when they say hip-hop started, hip-hop, the name wasn't made, nobody was breakdancing, nobody was rapping. So it couldn't have been in 72 that hip-hop started. We all agree with that, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So now, that's what we're doing. We're trying to authenticate hip-hop. What is the true stories of hip-hop? What are the people and who were the people that was involved? Like this brother here, you know what I mean? That nobody really talks about because he was 11 years old. So a lot of guys, Africa Bambaataa and all these different people who were given the names, they didn't know who he was because he was a kid. You see what I'm saying? And when you think about hip-hop, people who was involved with hip-hop was the kids. You was the kid when you was in hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? So this is the element where you're seeing that hip-hop started with the children. And people saw it and took advantage of the children.
And you know, let me say something that he said to add on, because see, since he said the name, I can say the name. I'm just gonna say it. He said that African Bambaataa, he mentioned the name. Let's clarify something. African Bambaataa was a funk band from the islands that was already in existence. He converted to hip hop. So if you convert to something, that means you didn't start it. It was in existence before you. And that's what a lot of people like. We have one of the most named popular hip hop artists in the world right now, Mr. Jay-Z. And I said, listen, and I'm older than him, so I'm giving him respect. He started teaching hip hop in colleges. Y'all remember that? Before he tried teaching. But part of the reason and the problem was he can't go back to the origins. He can't go back to the very beginning. So therefore, he can talk about when he converted from the street game to the hip hop game. And when people convert from the street game to the hip hop game, they usually bring the street mentality into the hip hop game, which tarnishes the integrity of hip hop. And that's just the God's honest truth. What was you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I mean, the greatest part about everything that we're doing here today is that the G-Man is actually giving everybody the truth behind the story. Mm-hmm. That is priceless. Mm-hmm. The truth behind the story. And for us to be able to acknowledge that, and be aware of that, and to be notified of that, I mean, to me, it's priceless.
That's what it's here for, because there's, there's a lot of different, there's 8 million stories, they say, you know what I'm saying, in the naked city. And here is one that is genuine, and it's a part of the culture, and it shows that you don't have to be the biggest man on stage, you don't have to be the one with all the money to be the one who created or started something. You know what I'm saying? He's here, he's been a fabric in the hip hop industry. Still, even though what's happened to him, he kept with the game, he kept educating and keeping people up, as far as still being in it. Because the one thing about hip hop, when you're in it, you're in it. You don't go get a job. You can't go get a job when you're in hip hop. You understand? You have to create your own job out of hip hop, because that's what hip hop gives you.
And that's true. I don't punch a clock. I move clocks out of the way. You want me to tell you why? Time is an illusion. Time is an illusion that's made by man to control things and control you. All we have supposed to do is exist and give homage to our Lord and Savior, the God, and our God who created us. Time is a total illusion. If you took away time, what would you do? Just exist. Nobody said you're supposed to eat from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Nobody said, they say it, but it's not nothing written. All we was given that was written was days. The morning and the evening was one day. That time is an illusion. So there's no times, like older guys that come to me and say, I want to start my career right now, I want to do this. I'm going to help, because it's an illusion. It's about talent, and that's what's been lost. Entertainment is supposed to be fun, and we have lost fun. We got too serious out here. Let's get back to having fun. You remember when we used to have block parties? And I'm going to tell you how the block party started. For the culture of hip hop, that is, a guy was living in a tenement building. That's what we call it, apartment buildings. He was living in a tenement building. He wanted to give his son a birthday party, but he couldn't invite everybody into his house because it was too small. So he took his stereo player, record player, and put it outside in his little gated little part in the city, and ran the cord wires to the stereo, and then started giving away hot dogs, and everybody was wishing his son a happy birthday. So one of the guy's friends was a garbage man and a truck driver. So they took a garbage truck and an 18-wheeler, an old school 18-wheeler, and backed it to the end of the corner and took the tires off, make a couple of tires off to make it look like it was broke down. So the police didn't pay that no attention. They was just seeing like they was working on the truck, and then people had to detour go around. But in actuality, music was playing, all the kids was playing Skelly in the street. How many of y'all remember Skelly? You remember Skelly? That means you remember the Tops. We used to, y'all remember that? See, that's old school fun. That's when us kids used to go outside and play. See, what's going on now in hip hop? See, the hip hoppers that's making all this money for the negative contributions to the world, they send their kids to private school, right? But they send to our kids negative influences.
True.
See how deep that is?
That's what we got to really pay attention to, And I also want to ask you about the culinary world. Like, what are the things that you're doing in the culinary world, and how are you blending all these things up to the original G-Man of today?
I'm trying to get my wife to open. I'm over there making faces at her because we cook together, and I'm a master chef. I got kicked out of school. Somebody called me the N-word and spit at me. And I'm from New York. We don't play that. I lost it, and I hit him one time, and I broke his jaw in like 3 places. And this was nowhere near my school. Why did I get to school when it was the dean's son? So that was the end of my football scholarship, my basketball scholarship. No more running track, none of that. Everything was over with. So when I got home to my mother, I knew I was going to take her ass. I always know, the best thing for a man is to get his ass whipped by a woman. Seriously, as a child, not.
Ain't nothing wrong with a nigga. I just got my ass whooped last night. Nothing wrong. I believe that.
I get mine whooped every other day. But the mindset is, when I got home, my mother didn't get mad at me. She asked me what happened. I explained, and she supported me. And I told her, Mom, I will never let you down again. I won't gonna do it. She said, you ain't letting me down, son. You letting you down. So what's your plan? So she said, you got 7 days to give me a plan, or I'm gonna beat your ass again. I came up on the third day. I ain't waiting to 7. I'm gonna go to the Job Corps. That made her proud. I had made a decision. I went to the Job Corps in Leona, Wisconsin. It was Blackwell Job Corps. And it was a 28-month course. I graduated with my cooking diploma in 8.5 months. I didn't take no weekend trips home. I stayed there and I studied. I loved to cook because my mother had me sitting up on the washing machine cooking, stirring up stuff at 8 years old anyway. I learned how to be a young man. I was really getting it in. So when I graduated from there, she said, what now? I said, oh, I'm not done. I went to Treasure Island in San Francisco and got my degree. You see what I'm saying? While doing music, everything I did was in service. Then I became a professionally trained bodyguard for a Michael Jackson lookalike. And I was faking it. It was like, I was actually faking with him this guy, his name was Danny Winston. And he used to dress like Prince, he used to dress like Michael Wade. This was in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I started acting like I was his bodyguard, had on the shades, and I'm walking and I'm looking, I'm stepping between people. And somebody took notice to that. It was a general in regular clothes. And he asked me, how would you like to be in an elite program? I said, elite like how? Like, matter of fact, how much? I'm always thinking about that bottom line. Yeah. So he said, I'm gonna let you have to train in all branches of the military, which I did. 6 to 8 weeks. He said, I'll find my wife here. Yeah. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Look, she getting applause from the women. The men like, I ain't looking at her. That's a trick question. But long story short, I trained all branches of the military to be a close quarters bodyguard. That means I'm the last line of defense before they get your ass. You know what I mean? And I did everybody from Obama, the Jacksons, Morris Chestnut, Vivica Fox, B5, Casey and JoJo. The list goes on, and I'm proud of that because although I was dead plausible deniability and never been in any branch officially, I served and I did my thing, and I did that for 30 years, man.
Make some noise, make some noise. So do you think, like when the documentary comes and all this stuff, you're going back to New York and do these things in New York to kind of get this information out in New York?
I think the time is coming where that is going to happen, but I think outside of the country, the people respect history more than our country because there's so many options over here. Yeah. From the truth, there's more options of lies in our country than in any other country. So I had to educate myself on how to do that. So I went and got my bachelor's in psychology. I went and got my doctorate in theology of music. And I'm so proud because everything is about service. And sometimes people get caught up and they think that you want to make it all about you. No, it's not all about you. It's all about him. And I stick to that. And no, I'm not religious. I'm not. My mother said I was born with a veil on my face. I understand because I see shit that just don't make sense. And then when I can try to iron it out, because the man that changes the world recognizes problems and come up with solutions. It's not what you do that makes you wealthy. It's what you can do without that makes you wealthy.
Any more questions? Any more questions? Anybody in the back? Anybody in the back?
I know somebody got a question they just don't want to ask. They think it's going to be embarrassing to me, but it's not. You can ask. You can ask. I don't care what it is.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Did you ever like all the elements of hip hop? Did you ever I know you do the rapping. Did you ever venture out to the breakdancing, the graffiti,
I was a chubby kid.
Yeah.
Only thing I did, I can lay down on my stomach and I look like a Tina Turner, so you can spin me around. But that's about it. I did the pop locking. Okay. I did the ticking, the wave, and I still got it.
Okay.
We're gonna stop right there.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
Have you ever done any songs with any other famous artists?
I've done songs. I actually I did a gospel song. I got a gospel song that's out now too, with Norris Williams, gospel legend. You know what I mean? And it's called "Can't Nobody Do Me Like Jesus," and that's out. We took the hip hop element to that and we flipped it on some stuff. You know, that's awesome. You know what I mean? I got a lot of offers. Like right now, they're working on something with me and Wyclef, John, and them to do some things. We got that coming up. So they're negotiating, the legal team and all that is negotiating a lot of things. And then just the other day, I got in touch with Kevin Raines. That's Vin Raines' nephew or cousin, something like that. And I've been telling the truth, they just wasn't listening. You know what I mean? But what makes me go at it hardcore is because finally I got legal papers and documents, you know, called affidavits that I can stand firm on. You know what I mean? And by the way, the outfits that you see me wearing and some of the guys wearing here with GXYZ is on sale right now. You can get them at a great discounted price, although they high end, but we're gonna be selling them at discounted prices. So that's a cheap plug.
Cheap plug right there. All right, so we want to go ahead and wrap up. Can you give us information how people can get in touch with you, they can find you?
I would go to gxyz.com or gxyz radio. You'll see the website up there, or get in touch with Emmanuel or Teddy, or them. They know how to get at me. I don't give out the personal numbers. I don't do that. I learned not to do that because I get my head busted by my wife. I've done that. People be calling, acting up, showing out. She don't play that now, and I stopped playing that. You know what I mean? I still got the nuts. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
All right, so let's everybody make some noise for the original G-Man. We want to thank everybody for coming out. If you want to take the time to take some pictures with G-Man, so we're going to be right here. Let's everybody make some noise for Pooh Bills for making this possible. It's Pooh, Mike Check Woodward Season 3. MikeCheckWoodward.com. We got shirts, we got merchandise, and you can go order, you can pre-order the documentary. Because we're going to build it, you can see it right here.
Yeah, let me ask y'all something. Can y'all do me a favor? I want to ask y'all a question. Is that all right, Teddy? I want to ask y'all a question. Can y'all do me a favor? Can y'all start pushing the truth, the narrative? Can y'all start doing that? Because the kids need to know where this came from the true side. All they think is thugism, drugism, sex, and violence is hip hop. And that's not. That's exploitation of the people and the culture. Can y'all start pushing that? And then go pre-order the documentary. Get your orders now, because when it comes out, they're gonna be going so fast. Get your stuff now. Go to Emmanuel or scan the barcode up here with your phone, and you can pre-order the documentary. You know what I mean? Get your copy now, and it makes a It makes a great gift. Christmas is coming up.
Shameless plug. All right, so DJ Youngboy, crank it up and let's take some pictures, everybody. Thank you for coming out. And all the hip hop, thank you for allowing us to do this event.